.30 a.m. 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. I'm your host, Kelsey Elfine, co-host Richie, sitting to the left of me. Pops is on a vacation, tropical oasis island, lost at sea.
As my dad would say, he ain't around here.
He has waited a long time to take vacation. He's done so. A couple of news topics today that we need to discuss about before we get into a lot of stuff. Firstly, this will be the last show of the month for the Off the Bench College Football Show. We'll be back in June. We're going to take a couple weeks off, rejuvenate, get our spa treatments in, do the manly things that we have to do, and get back. I will be going on another vacation, and we will have to not do the show during that time. But we will be back first week of June, ready to go, get all the updates that we'll miss in that 3-week time frame. But that doesn't mean we don't have a lot of stuff to talk about today, because we do. Firstly, let me get this out of the way. Every story today points at the same thing. College sports are expanding. More teams in March Madness, more teams in the college football playoff, bigger schedules, bigger TV windows, bigger NIL money. But bigger does not always mean better. At some point, the question becomes whether the people running college sports are improving the product or just stretching it out until it loses what made it special.
Yeah, funny enough, the only sports I don't hear expanding is like college baseball. And I mean, we're coming up on, Omaha has always been a big deal, but we're not adding to that.
Well, we've also discussed many times in the last couple of years that the MLB needs to shorten the regular season.
Yeah, 162 is a few too many.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Right.
Can I take a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
But before we jump too deep into the sports, I do want to take a minute. Kind of a big day tomorrow. I want to give 2 shout outs. First and foremost, my mom. She's had to deal with me for 42 years. Love you, Mom. And second, all the moms that have poured into my life or my daughter's life, tomorrow being Mother's Day. I appreciate all that y'all have done for me and my kiddo.
Mother's Day tomorrow, of course, go get your mother flowers, do all the good stuff, make her feel special. It's that kind of day.
Cook her something.
My mother went off to a tropical oasis island as well.
So, you know what? You know who needed that?
I've got a day off.
You know who needed that more than your dad? Your mom.
That's it right there.
Did they go to the same?
Yes. They are, of course, the same place.
Okay. She probably deserved to go to her own island. But
likely.
The expansion is here. I got kind of I've been big on the expansion for college football. You and Pops have kind of yelled at me a little bit about my I think 32 is better than 24. I think 24 is terrible with the buys. I hate 24. I'm fine with 16. I'd rather go to 32 than 24, but we're going to 24. It's happening. I accept it. Here's my thing though. One of the arguments that I had made, I got kind of cold by Josh Pate this week, was that everybody loves the NFL postseason, right? Everybody talks about how great the NFL playoffs are, and then the Super Bowl being the culmination of the playoffs. And the NFL, it's like 40% of the teams make the playoffs. I think it's like 42% or something. I'm not going to look it up right now and give you the exact 0.7 or whatever it is. And so I was like, hey, what's the problem when you've got 130 somewhat odd teams? 12 is not enough, so 16 is a little bit more. 32 is even close, if the NFL playoffs. And Josh Pate brought up a good point, and I'm going to piggyback off of his good point, is that in the NFL, in theory, today, the Raiders were terrible last year, right? Mm-hmm. Just awful. They got the first pick of the draft. They picked Fernando Mendoza. In theory, as we sit right now today, the Raiders could make the playoffs. every year for the last like 7 or 8 years, half the teams that made the playoffs last year don't make it this year in the NFL. It's usually about half of them. So about 6 to 7 don't make it. And and Josh pointed out that, yes, in the NFL, all 32 teams legitimately have a chance. With the way this it's set up, all you got to do is be the best team in your little group of 4. Yes, do the Raiders really have a chance to make the playoffs? Probably not, but they got a better chance to make the playoffs than Missouri does, than Baylor or Auburn. So how many teams in college football legitimately have a chance to be good?
You have, in my mind, you have maybe 6 teams that are actually good enough to win the national championship.
But even if you go expand further, how many teams actually have a chance to be good? 60?
Well, that's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down, because now you're once you expand the playoff, you're raising questions about teams. Okay, how good are they actually? Because that changes the line of good and bad.
It very much, yeah.
Because, that also changes the line of job security,
yes.
Which is another point that a lot of coaches are bringing up right now. Kirby Smart brought this up on the speaker series with Pate the other day. It is, if you raise that up, if we go, let's say we go to 24, which is gaining a lot of attention right now, then your job security is now on a completely different level of, okay, now we have an opportunity to make the playoff. That team, Auburn, goes, okay, here's the deal. Here's the deal, new coach. Why did I think of Parsons' name? Gullish. And new coach Gullish, okay? Alex Gullish. Here's the deal. You have 4 years to make the playoff, or else you're gone.
I don't think they give them 4. If they go to 24 teams, you're not getting 4. You're not getting 4 years.
That's likely it. Because we're changing the whole precipice of what is the line for how good a team is. What is the line for how good the coach needs to be and what position the team needs to be in that second or third year. I've said this a lot. I don't think Lane Kiffin and the Tigers this year are ready to go compete for a national championship. Their offensive line is complete filled with transfers, okay? You know how long it takes for an offensive line to get chemistry?
Yeah.
It takes a year and a half to do just to be together. So I don't care if that guy, if Parker Brailsford coming in from Washington to Bama, it didn't matter that he was the best center in the country last year.
Yeah.
Okay, that didn't matter because he didn't know the guys around him. He had no clue going into that spring who the guys were around him, and trying to build that chemistry. It's impossible to do. Okay, on top of that, you have Sam Levitt coming off injury. He's coming back with the Tigers. Who knows if he's going to be full strength, ready to go by fall. And if he isn't, then you've got a couple weeks without him. Yeah. But you also have a team that hasn't been practicing with his quarterback. And so it doesn't matter how much talent on a team like LSU, where 75% of that team is transfers, that it doesn't matter how good they are. They need time to gel together. So the more and more we move down this path, again, I'm sitting here saying, does it actually make the game that we find so special better? Because now we're giving less time to teams that could be special in a couple years, that could take that Ed Orgeron route, be a coach that's very mediocre, find his right spot, and magic insinuates with that group and that marriage to that team, only if it takes a couple of years. But he doesn't get that couple of years now because we're looking at a school now that is telling Ed Orgeron, you got 1 year to go do this. You got 1 year to make the playoff. We have given you the money. You have gotten those players. Now you've got 1 year to go give us what you got. So, and unfortunately, he comes out with an 8-win season and he's gone.
Let me clarify.
Yeah.
You're saying if we go to 24.
Yeah.
I yes and no. I agree with parts of what you're saying there. I think if we go to 24, which we keep saying if we go to 24, we're going to 24. It's just a matter of when the paperwork gets signed and how ESPN can figure out when to put the games. Mm-hmm. That's, ultimately what's going on here. I think you're going to have schools like LSU, Bama, Auburn, Georgia, your top echelon SEC, your Ohio States, Michigans, Penn States, your top echelon, Big Tens, your Texas Tech with, well, that's a gamble. for if they're going to make it or not. But your big time schools, the coach is going to get maybe 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is legitimately there's only 60 teams in college football who have the money, the power, the prestige, the players, and the wherewithal to make a playoff, to be good at the beginning of the season. As of today, 17 weeks out, there's only 60 teams max. And I'm counting your Missouris, your UCLAs, that kind of stuff. I'm not even talking about the Boise State that's going to get a spot, or the UNLV running Rebels that are going to get a spot, kind of thing. So if we go to 24, that's like half almost.
When does it come to the point, though, and there's different levels to this question, when does it come to the point where we made the postseason, we made the playoff, isn't impressive anymore? Now, when I say there's two levels to that, obviously that coach that's at UNLV that's trying to get a job in the Power Five, if it's Dan Mullen trying to come back into the Power Five, that's impressive. Hey, I took that next step. I brought my team, UNLV, to the college football playoff. That's why I deserve this job back at Mississippi State.
Right. Yep.
Okay? That's a fair one. Okay? On the other level, you have a coach that, hey, I made the playoff. Well, you're a top 5 team in the SEC.
Yeah,
you should be making the playoff no matter
24.
what.
Yeah.
Okay. So when does it come to the question where that's just not that's not an impressive thing anymore? The new impressive becomes, I made the Rose Bowl, I made the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah. I think you're asking. It depends on who you're asking.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you ask the vast majority of university presidents, university athletic directors, you being able to say, hey, we've made the playoffs 4 years in a row, 5 years in a row, is huge. They're going to love that, because you're going to get a home game every now and then as a playoff game. You're being talked about. You're always in there every Tuesday night when ESPN does their ranking reveal. The University of Alabama's logo pops up, and they can say, oh, they've made it now for the 6th year in a row, But if you ask the fans, especially Alabama fans, I love Alabama fans. I do. I really do. They're crazy. I'm one of them. We're crazy. If you told any Alabama fan, cool, we're going to make the playoffs for the next 5 years consecutively, but we're going to lose we're going to even host a home game a couple of times, but we're going to lose the next 5 years in a row in the first round. That they would set Bryant-Denny Stadium on fire, and the thing's made out of concrete and metal. I don't know that it would burn.
What I worry about this is we're going to look back when we introduced this 2014 playoff model. Here's what we're going to do in a couple of years. We're going to look back and go, man, what Alabama did was impressive during that 14 playoff stretch. When they had and they were making the playoff every year. Man, that was impressive. You can't have that same level of success anymore because there's 24 of the same teams making the playoff. You can't do that anymore. You can't sit there and say it was impressive to go make the playoff every year. But now as an SEC team, you're looking to make the playoff every year because you have to maintain a job.
We made the Sweet 16. That's going to be the new thing. We made the Sweet 16.
It kills me because we're going to look back in a couple of years and realize how good we had it. And then we just decided to make the game 10 times more easier.
I got to push back.
You're making college football easier.
Did we have it better when no one knew who the national championship was?
When did you not know who the national championship was?
The 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. You had no idea who the national champion was. It was voted on by a bunch of people. There were games where Alabama lost to Notre Dame, but enough voters voted previous to that it didn't count.
You're letting perfect be the enemy of good.
Okay. Hold on. I love that quote. But was that the golden era of college football?
No, I think the BCS in 2010 was the golden era of college football.
When we had two teams?
When we had two teams in the national championship. Now, it was not perfect, okay? That's what I just said.
I'm fixing to take up for Auburn right here.
You were not – that was not perfect, okay? I just said don't let perfect be the enemy of good, okay? Because BCS was not perfect. that it was the golden era of the product put on the football field.
I think what I understand, it's a double-edged sword every way you look at this.
Mm-hmm.
Because, okay, if we go to 16, we go to 24, whatever the number is, we can no longer argue and complain that, well, Indiana didn't play anybody. And look, they made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't matter how many nobodies you play. If you're not a good team, you're not winning the championship. I think where we're at right now with 12, there's teams that are not good, but because of their schedule, because of how crazy other things are in the world, they're making 2 of the 12 this year were Tulane and James Madison.
Right.
In no world whatsoever at 12 should that be. I think 16 is actually a good number.
Mm-hmm.
I think because that gives you 8 really good games that first weekend, you're going to have 1, maybe 2 blowouts, which is what we currently have at 12. But you're going to have 2 or 3 really, really good, close, hard-fought football games.
16, I think, is where we're going to find our best number, because I think we're looking at expansion no matter what. It's going to happen. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I would say 16 no matter what, but that's not going to be popular in anyone's point of view. Now, the coaches don't like 16 anymore. They want the 24 for the job security, even though I think job security is going to float either way. You're changing what job security is, the definition of job security, when you do that. I just think that's the case with it. Guys, 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. Speaking of scheduling and things like that, weaker schedule, Alabama has canceled its home-and-home series with Oklahoma State. But silver lining here, they kept it with Ohio State. We're going to discuss that next here on the Off the Bench College Football Show.
I agree with part of that. I'd like to bring back the BCS computers.
BCS computers, so essentially AI before AI.
Yeah, give me the computers in 16, and I'd be happy.
Computers in 16.
If I had to, that would be. I think that might be the perfect scenario.
I've been informed that we were muted here by D. Smith here on YouTube. Apologies for that. Only thing we missed here, we're discussing the poll that I put up on the screen. Are we letting perfect be the enemy of good in college football? You can answer yes or no to type 1 or 2 in the chat there. Apologies there, but we're back on track. So what we really want to discuss this segment was Alabama is keeping the home-and-home series with Ohio State. They did let go of the Oklahoma State series. A little disappointing. I don't think Alabama and Ohio State have ever played.
No.
Or Oklahoma State and Alabama.
State and Alabama.
I don't think they have ever played before, so it's a little disappointing.
I would have liked to have gone out to Boone Pickens Stadium.
I would have in Stillwater.
Yeah.
That had been a good game. I would have enjoyed that one. But I'm thankful that we still get to play the Buckeyes. And
Absolutely.
I've got a history with this question almost. This week I was going back and forth on social media. I don't remember the fellow's name. I don't know if he was subscribed to the show or not. But Ohio State fan, big Ohio State fan, big Big Ten homer. I was informed that Ohio State is the best of the best in college football. Nobody can touch them. And the Big Ten is far and miles ahead of the SEC in terms of talent within college football. So the argument of statistics holding it up is in the draft of holding in the fairness of who I am. The fairness of who I am. What I said was the statistics of the draft were Ohio State in the Big Ten in the first round. That held up the argument of the Big Ten has better overall. They have been better at the top end of their conference than the SEC has the last couple of years. Okay. SEC throughout the draft dominated. They had the most draft picks throughout the draft. In the first round, the Big Ten did. That held it up. Post-spring rankings held up that argument too. The Big Ten's top heavy.
Yep.
SEC better throughout. But I was informed that the Big Ten is far and miles ahead of the talent of the SEC. The SEC has no depth. Their dreams of making it back to the national championship will never happen again.
Well, I mean, then why are we going to 24? Just shut her down.
Shut her down.
Like,
Big Ten, give it to Ohio State every year.
Just, I mean, let's start, playing tiddlywinks during, September and October, or shoots and ladders. I mean, if it's that big of a difference, because correct me if I'm wrong, because I have been before, once or twice. Did Ohio State win the national championship this year?
No.
What? Wait a minute.
No, they didn't. Oh, but here was the thing. Now, I was also informed Indiana was ranked lower to begin the season than Northwestern and Northwestern, Rutgers. They were better than Vanderbilt, Mississippi State. I was informed of a lot of things that I was not aware about.
I mean,
where Indiana started low at the beginning of the season, I had no clue.
I'm almost certain they started the season.
I think they were ranked.
I would definitely say they were ranked above Mississippi State and Missouri. And
our prize child Vanderbilt, though.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and
I'd have to go check back.
We'd have to get back in the time machine and go back to
week one.
Yeah,
and figure this out. Dylan, hit us up on YouTube. 24 games is a lot. Definitely would have to either cut the season short or extend it. A lot of wear and tear on those guys. That's another good point, too. And that's an argument that's been held up. But you got to remember, this is also a world where we're probably going to cut the conference championships out. Greg Byrne has already kind of floated that idea, the commissioner of the SEC. The problem is their contracts with ESPN. Also, another thing, ESPN owns the SEC. They just prop up those guys in the draft to make them look better.
Well,
that's what I was informed of
and
as well.
Fox owns the Big Ten. Okay, next.
That's it right there. Wear and tear wouldn't be as big of an issue as we would look at it on the surface, because conference championship games would likely be cut, as well as a lot of likely these games that we don't care about. Right? The games that we don't care about, these Alabama-Ohio State games, they'd be gone. Nobody wants to hear about it.
No, you'll still have those because you have to play that 10th game.
Well, I have an argument about that. We're going to get to that next here in the Off the Bench College Football Show. We'll be right back. 7:30 a.m., 1839 FM, Jocks Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. I'm your host, Kelsey F.I., co-host Richie Jones, sitting to the left of me. A lot of going on today as we were discussing the home-and-home series with Alabama. Looks like, Ohio State and Alabama still continuing on as they get rid of the Oklahoma State series. We discussed a little bit about the 2014 playoff that's been proposed, really looking like the heavy favorite to replace the 12-team playoff here. Whenever the papers get signed, it seems like that's what we're waiting for. We're moving on a little bit. The Brendan Sorsby situation over at Texas Tech has caught a lot of eyes, as it looks like, as of right now, he doesn't look like he's going to play in the upcoming season. Guys,
I wouldn't bet on it.
I wouldn't bet on it either. That's some foul play right there. Wow. You don't bet on things like that, right?
You can bet on everything.
I'm sure you can bet right now to see if Brendan Sorsby's going to play.
I guarantee you, there's a bet on Kalshi somewhere that you can. I've heard that the kid made bets on everything possible at 2-3 in the morning on sports in other countries that we don't even know the rules of.
Well, he is accused of allegedly placing thousands of sports wagers dating back to his time at Indiana. If you follow the timeline, he was at Cincinnati last year. Okay, so keep going back to his Indiana days. The most serious allegation is that he allegedly bet on college football, including Indiana football, while he was part of the program.
Which, from my understanding, is an immediate thanks for coming. Here's your hat.
Yep,
get out.
I mean, that's essentially like a not Dusty Baker, Pete Rose situation.
Yes,
that's a Pete Rose situation just waiting to happen. But gambling alone is a problem under NCAA rules. But betting on college football while being in college football roster is a much bigger integrity issue that they're following up on. So the current status is that Sorsby is away from the program, but the NCAA has not fully resolved this issue. Texas Tech not putting a timeline on his return. He could be back by regular season. He could be back midway through the season. Or there's a couple different routes he could follow. One being the NFL draft. And you might think, well, that's already passed.
Yeah, that was like a month ago.
There's another draft. The supplemental draft for the NFL is a wild card option, but it's gaining traction because of the type of situation that he is currently in. If he loses NCAA eligibility, he could try to enter the supplemental draft instead of waiting for the normal NFL draft process. The NFL teams are reportedly doing due diligence on him in case that becomes a real possibility. The supplemental draft is rarely used. The last time was 2019, if I remember right.
Yes.
And it is a complicated process on how that draft works. So basically, teams can bid a future draft pick on him. If a team uses a third-round supplemental pick, it gets the player now, but loses its third-round pick in the next NFL draft.
It's a little more complicated than that.
That's the dumbed-down version of the whole thing. So the question now becomes, how much future draft capital would a team risk on Sorsby, who, one, has betting accusation? That's not just a problem in college football. Yes. That's a problem in the NFL as well. Yeah. You get caught betting on your own sport, on your own team, you'll be kicked off in a millisecond. So is this a flight risk that the NFL is risking to take on Sorsby?
Maybe. I'm going to have a hot take for you right here, right now. So it's to kind of make a dumbed down thing even more difficult to understand. There are 3 tiers of NFL teams. Tier 3 is teams that made the playoff. Tier 2 is teams with 7 or more wins but didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
And tier 1 would be teams with 6 or fewer wins. Those are, and I'm not going to read the entire list, Titans, Jets, Raiders, Giants, Saints, Chiefs, Bengals. So inside each tier, they bid, we'll give up a third-round pick for him. If nobody else inside their tier does a third or higher, then they get him. So, for instance, the Titans, I don't think the Titans would go for him, but the Titans could say, hey, we'll give up a third-round pick for him. If nobody else gives a first, second, or third, the Titans get him like in June or July, something like that. I would hot take here. The only reason the Kansas City Chiefs are in tier number 1 is because every player on their team was hurt last year.
Right.
They're never going to get another high first-round draft pick ever again.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, now that everybody's coming back and has re-signed for another year, shout out to Taylor Swift's boyfriend's team. Why not throw like a crazy second, maybe even a first pick as the Kansas City Chiefs to get what might end up being like the 28th pick in the draft?
I don't know if you put a first-round pick out there. I think that's a lot for a flight risk player. But a third, I'm okay with. If I'm the Chiefs, especially in their situation, you're looking probably not at a Patrick Mahomes successor yet, but it's coming down the line in the next couple of years where you might need one. Now, it doesn't completely line up, but he's coming off that ACL injury.
Where did Patrick Mahomes play football?
Texas Tech.
Oh,
Yeah, he did.
Oh, look at there.
Texas Tech. That was a completely different Texas Tech team.
Yeah, it was.
A completely different era of Texas Tech football. That was before all the money.
But you need, there's a lot of money at Texas Tech right now. Yes, but Patrick Mahomes is coming off of a major injury.
Right.
He is a great quarterback. He is no questionable, if he's healthy, top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
But like we discussed with the NFL draft, there's only 32 teams in the NFL. 60 different people started at quarterback in last season.
Yeah.
That means on average, every team's backup started a game.
I mean, if Sorsby this isn't a normal thing, because this is a normal thing. This kind of eligibility issues always happens in college football. The difference is that the talent of a player like Sorsby is not the average talent around the country. These average kids don't get put in the supplementary draft because the teams are like, it's just not worth it to us. We don't really want to pay attention to it. It's not even worth the time. Sorsby is one of those weird characters because he's a future first-round pick.
Right, yeah. Next year.
Yeah, he has signed millions upon millions of dollars of NIL deals, including, I think it's Adidas. I think Adidas is in on that one.
$6 million just for this season.
Right. Okay. Coming from Cincinnati to Texas Tech, it was a huge deal. Okay. When he walked on campus, when he left Cincinnati and came over to Texas Tech.
And we're not talking about Cincinnati enough because Cincinnati has filed a lawsuit against him.
Yeah, they are.
Leaving.
Yeah.
Is it possible that Cincinnati is the reason why he's being investigated for betting?
You're saying Cincinnati has planted this idea?
I don't think they planted the idea. I think somebody at Cincinnati knew
about this,
that it was going on. He got a, because they can't do it on their own cell phones or their own name or whatever.
Yeah.
So like I'm the starting quarterback at Cincinnati. I'm like, hey, Kels, buddy, I need you to bet. I need you to sign up this account on Caesars or whatever, and I'm gonna need you to put some bets out there for me or give me the password and whatnot. Somebody at Cincinnati knew he was doing something a little fishy that he wasn't supposed to, and when they realized, oh, he's gone to Texas Tech. Oh no, here's the information.
I mean, the biggest issue with this is bigger than one quarterback. This is an issue that happens all across the country. Remember Brad Bohannon, Alabama baseball coach, betting on his own team. He's betting all around the country, but he was using a bookie up in, I think, Ohio somewhere.
Yeah.
Was it Cincinnati?
It might have been Cincinnati or Ohio.
Cincinnati?
That he was passing information to and everything.
Okay. How did he get fired? Did he get fired like mid-game?
What? Yeah, I think it was. It wasn't. I don't know if it was mid-game or like right before the game started.
It was something like that because the story blew up.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Is it really? I can't believe I'm asking this question of 21-year-old kids that just got a $6 million check. What's the harm in betting on your team to win?
A lot.
Now, hear me out. I agree. It is the absolute
worst. Ask Pete Rose.
It is the absolute worst thing on the planet to bet that your team's going to lose because then you actually have a lot to do with that outcome of the loss. Oh no, I threw an interception. We lost. I cashed.
Yeah.
But for you to bet on your team to win, you should not. Okay, First of all, it's bad enough that a 21-year-old kid that's in sports is betting on sports.
Yeah.
Because as I had a conversation with somebody that's not a big sports fan, and they were like, yeah, but they may know something because they're in with sports. They may know, oh, he met LeBron and he's betting on the NBA playoffs because LeBron told him, so that's bad enough.
Yeah.
Then it's even worse to bet on your own sport, because then you definitely have some sort of info on your own sport.
Yep.
It's even that third and final terrible step to bet on your own team. But I would like to argue for just a second that betting on my team to win,
I'd have to let this conversation soak a little bit, because I don't actually have an answer for that one. I'd have to think about the possible outcomes of that.
Yeah.
On the surface, it doesn't sound bad, but I think if you actually dig in and think about all the possibilities, I don't want to say anything yet on my opinion on that. I think if you dig in and figure out what's under the surface on that question,
it could be ugly.
I think it gets a lot uglier.
It could. I'm throwing one off the cuff here, because when you think about it, if you're going to bet on your own team, there's only a couple things you can actually bet on. Okay, are we going to the money line, which is we win the game?
Yeah.
Or hey, we're going to take the spread. We're going to win by 7. Or are you placing bets? And this would be terrible as well, that my wide receiver Kelsey is going to get 4 catches, because now I'm the quarterback and I'm going to force 4 throws to you.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe you weren't the most open, or maybe Pops is running down and out, he's headed towards the end zone for a touchdown, but I got to get Kelsey that 4th catch so that I can. Now that's ugly.
That's ugly right there. It depends on all the outcomes you think about on that question. So, I mean, for Sorsby, if this supplemental draft idea is real, because that's really what I wanted to focus on today, this is real baggage that he's bringing along with him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is character issues possibly. This is a lot of things you have to go through. Is he truly ready to make that jump into the NFL? Because he could have done it last year. He didn't do it. He transferred. He took the bigger check. He went to Texas Tech. So a lot of questions to be answered about this guy. But the biggest question, I think, is, should Brendan Sorsby get a path back to college football if he is in treatment, or does betting on college football while on a roster have to be the automatic line that the NCAA cannot let players cross? Because if you let this one slide, it's hunting season.
Yeah. You cannot. The NFL, NCAA. We've beat this like a dead horse. It has no bark and very little bite left. But this is one that they are going to have to absolutely stand firm. If they've got to go to the Supreme Court, they have got to stand firm on this one. And really and truly, all they got to do, you're going to get a judge in Texas to do an injunction on it?
You could always Pete Rose the situation. 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. Guys, let us know, should Brendan Sorsby get a path back to college football, or is this the line that the NCAA cannot let players cross in college football? This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. We'll be right back.
I just use Pete Rose as a verb.
7:30 a.m. 103.9 FM, Jocks Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. I'm your host, Kelsey Fine. Co-host Richie Jones sitting to the left of me. Guys, real quick, go hit us up. Go hit our friends over at Brandon Bill's affiliate partner here of the show. They got good hats. I'm a big hat guy. Not that I own the hat industry, but I always wear hats. And Brandon Bill's has become one of my favorite hats just from the look and the feel. Kind of fits like a trucker hat, but it also has that golf hat kind of feel too.
It does.
It's a good hat to wear. So go hit them up, Brandon Bill / Off the Bench CFB show. Link is in our bio there, or excuse me, is in the
pinned comments underneath.
It's in the description of the show there. Yeah. So you can go hit our friends up over there, and you can hit up all of our friends over in the description as well. They're all link is over there for the page description there. You can go find it over there. So the NCAA tournament has expanded to 76 teams in March Madness. So,
which is still percentage-wise less than the college football.
Well, at some point, you just got to ask, do we really need this amount of games? But also it hits the question of what's a couple more teams? In fact, what's 8 more teams really going to change about the March Madness tournament? But my argument for this is, are they just hitting back at the ATM?
I mean, yes and no. I think with this, from my understanding, what I've read and seen and saw and heard, and everybody pontificating on it and everything, you're playing games. The Tuesday, Wednesday play-in games. We had 4 of those: 2 on Tuesday, 2 on Wednesday. You usually had 2 16 seeds and 2 11 seeds. From my understanding, the additional 8, you're going to do either all the 16s are going to play, or you're going to have some 16s and some 15s play in, and then you're also going to get either all the 11s or some 11s and 12s. It's going to be half is going to be automatic bids, and the other half are going to be slotted in. So Auburn, who was number 69,
would have made it. Hey, they got their tournament victory in the NIT.
They got a banner they can hang at the jungle.
I wouldn't be proud to hang a NIT banner. I don't know if that's
Would it say we're the 69th best team in the country?
I think that's exactly where it goes. Basically, instead of playing 4 playing games, the new format would include 12 opening round games across Tuesday and Wednesday. 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks Huntsville. If you want to follow along with the show here more, you can do so on iHeartRadio at 7:30 a.m. Jocks Huntsville, or if you're local here in North Alabama, 103.9 FM Jocks Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. We'll be right back.
Hit the like and subscribe button.